Welcome to Crypto Flywheel, podcast where we spin up strategies to turn your digital efforts into unstoppable momentum. Now, let's get that flywheel turning. This is actually kind of wild. So there's this organization called DTCC, the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation. Most people have never heard of it, but it's basically the backbone of the entire global financial system. Every time a stock gets bought or sold, TCC is quietly working behind the scenes to make sure the trade actually settles properly, meaning the money moves to the right place and the right asset moves to the right person. How big is this? They process about 3.7 quadrillion in transactions every year. That number is so large, it's hard to even picture, and there's currently safeguarding around 87 trillion in assets. So yeah, this isn't some small operation. This is a plumbing of global finance. In 2025, DTCC filed a series of patents. Patents are important because they tell you what a company is planning for the future, what technology they're building towards, and even if it isn't live yet. So these patents describe a future version of their system that would support something called the digital liquidity token. Basically, cryptocurrencies that can be used to move value around instantly on a blockchain. And specifically, the patents name XRP and XLM as examples of the tokens the system was designed to work with. One patent even describes a scenario where value moves from the Stellar network to the Ripple network, with XRP or XLM acting as a bridge between different assets and different blockchains. Think of it like a currency exchange, but happening in seconds, automatically between totally different financial systems. Right now, moving money between different financial institutions, especially across borders, is slow, expensive, and clunky. It can take days, involve multiple middlemen, and rack up fees along the way. What these patents are describing is a system where DTCC's infrastructure could eventually use something like XRP to move value instantly between blockchains and institutions. Not waiting, no unnecessary middlemen. That's a pretty big deal when you consider the scale of what DTCC handles. If you fast forward to today, Ripple has acquired a company called Hidden Road for $1.25 billion. Hidden Road is what's called prime brokerage firm, meaning it provides financial services to big institutional clients like hedge funds. That acquisition alone signals that Ripple is trying to move deeper into mainstream and institutional finance. They're not just a crypto company anymore. They're buying their way into the same world that DTCC operates in. But here's the part that really connects the dots. Just days after the acquisition closed, Hidden Road officially joined DTCC's clearing infrastructure, meaning Hidden Road is now plugged directly into the same system that processes $3.7 quadrillion a year. So DTCC patent specifically names XRP as eligible for their future system. Ripple acquires a firm that then joins DTCC's infrastructure. All of this is happening within the same window of time. Now, is this a guarantee that XRP becomes the backbone of global finance? I say no, but patents don't always become reality. Acquisitions don't always play out the way people expect. But is it just a coincidence that all these pieces are lining up at the same time? You tell me.
There are no coincidences in this world. That's one thing I can guarantee. I'm like almost confident. I'm not going to guarantee it, but there's no coincidences, Digital X. Right now we have, while headlines are focused on wars, energy shocks, and central bank policies, the real transformation of finance is happening quietly inside regulatory agencies. This is why the geopolitical narrative is focusing on these wars. Right, there's so many things that are happening behind the scenes apart from what mainstream media is telling us, correct? Yeah, so similarly, an agency that would be laying the foundation is the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, DTCC, right? Like you mentioned, they have over $3.7 quadrillion as the backbone of global settlements. That's how much, and that's probably an understatement, actually. Like, if you think about the Forex market itself, treasuries, they do about $5 to $7 trillion daily, right? So, I mean, I'm not saying that it's completely tied together. However, the DTCC, it's no coincidence that the Ripple and DTCC are in cahoots, right? So DTCC, like Ripple is actually building that infrastructure. They are creating a one-stop shop for this new financial system. You mentioned right now, what's the company that you just mentioned? Oh my God, it's skipping my mind. Hidden Road. Then there was Open Eden. Then they had G Treasury. Then they had Evernorth. All of these are not, just on the whim are they acquiring and funding these institutions or these new acquisitions, right? So these are all building blocks for the entire financial system. So XRP, like you mentioned, they included in their patent XLM and XRP, right, as bridge currencies. Now, this is all, I want our listeners to understand how Brad Garlinghouse talks about it all the time. He says the internet of value, right? So all of this stuff is being laid out, these rails, right? So what we at the Crypto Flywheel try to educate our listeners by saying, position yourselves. The smoke hasn't settled, and it's not going to settle for some time. So this is enough time for you to position yourselves with these assets that we talk about within the standardized organization ISO's 20022 framework for the new financial system. So that's what I got to say about the DTCC. Anything else you want to further add?
Yeah, as you said, the internet of value is also known as the finternet. So I'm sure a lot of our listeners have heard of that, but if you do come across it, the finternet is also the internet of value.
Yeah. So you also said that these are all signals. You can't guarantee that this is going to happen, but when the world's largest clearing institution begins experimenting with blockchain settlements, that signal is very loud and clear. Traditional finance is not resisting digital assets anymore. It is integrating them. So the flywheel's going to start spinning, guys. So, it's going to start from institutional settlement to tokenization, infrastructure, global liquidity networks, and new asset markets, right? So position yourselves, listen, do your due diligence, hear us when we speak these things. We're doing deep research, and we're trying to make it as a simple conversation without trying to shill anything, but comprehending the underlying assets is very important, and positioning ourselves to invest in them will create us some wealth, so get that yield while we can right now when the prices are low, before they switch that switch on. Sorry.
Elon flipped the switch the other day, didn't he?
With XUSD. Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, I remember we talked about that, right?
Yeah, but he was actually he sent a little tweet showing a switch, and he had indicated that it's something about flipping the switch. So
yeah, it's gonna happen, guys. So now's the time. Don't wait around too long, because once that once the train leaves the station, it's gonna be too late. We're gonna be priced out. So get yourself some of these assets and diversify into all 7 coins and 1 token, and then give yourself some exposure to every one of them if you could. Yeah.
Well said. Professor X, you want to go ahead and flywheel out of here?
Yes. As I always say, comment and ask us questions so that we can address them in subsequent episodes. Like myself and Digital X, we really like to this is a passion of ours. We like talking about it. We do it constantly. So we thought we could share it with our listeners as well. So with that being said, this episode of the Crypto Flywheel is signing off. Thank you.
Thank you.